Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Online Racing for some more hype energy PS4 F1 League action. Still a long way to go in the championship. Tonight it is round 4 around the Shanghai International Circuit. It is the Chinese Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge and I'll be taking you through the 18 minutes of qualifying, followed by 28 laps of what I'm sure will be scintillating action around this circuit. We've got 14 drivers tonight, and I know one team who will be hoping to repeat the performance of last time around will be IGK. If you weren't with us for the last race around Vietnam, it was a fantastic performance from the IGK team. A 1-2-3 with Gil just taking the victory on penalties, and I mean just 18 thousandths of a second ahead of Zach, and Domi rounded it out. So a very good evening indeed for the IGK team. What that means in terms of the Drivers' Championship is Blizzard still on top at the moment by 7 points. It is then Gil in second place, Domi in third, Zach is fourth, and then you've got Aero in 5th position at the moment. So obviously early stages, still all to play for. 3 different winners in the first 3 races. Only 2 drivers so far getting multiple podiums. I'm sure this is going to be an extremely close race and an extremely close qualifying session as well. It's what you always expect here at AOR. So let's see how some of the drivers are doing then on their first runs in the qualifying session. See who can end up coming out on top around here, around this Shanghai International Circuit then. 5.451 kilometres, just under 3.5 miles. Ideally 56 laps in a full race, 28 obviously tonight. First used in 2004 when Rubens Barrichello took the victory then around this circuit. Who will end up getting the win tonight? Expect to see a lot of slipstreams, a lot of DRS action down this extremely long straight then that the drivers are going to have to tackle tonight. We'll go on board with the winner then from last time out. What can Gil do around this circuit as he heads down towards turn 1, then across the start finish line? DRS wide open, heading towards turn 1, braking for this long right-hander, putting a lot of pressure on that front left tyre as you come through turns 1 and 2, then switching over to the left-hand side for turn 3. Got to be careful on the traction at turn 4. Heading now through 5 into 6. Possible overtaking opportunity here. Just ask Daniel Ricciardo as he heads through turn 6 there. The middle sector of the lap, all about having good downforce on the car. 7 and 8. Extremely fast sequence of corners. The left. Then you slow it down into 4th gear for the right-hander. Short shifting into 5th to get that extra bit of traction that you require. Coming through the double left-hander there then of turn 9 and 10. Heading across the DRS activation zone for the end of the second sector into 11, and then the long right-hander at 12 and 13, where it's important again that you keep it nice and steady. If you're wearing out your tyres, you are going to be in a lot of trouble with that front left around there, and we'll just get barrel loads of understeer. DRS opening as you head down towards the back straight then, down towards the best overtaking opportunity of the track at turn 14. 207 miles an hour for Gil as he slams on the brakes, so just over 330 kilometres an hour for the Alpha Tauri driver. Keeping it clean through there, heading around the final corner. Be careful not to invalidate your lap time, and as he comes across the line, a very respectable first run indeed for Gil. 128.871 for last week's race winner. This should be, as I said, a fantastic race. We'll see what Iamotti can do. Didn't quite have the pace of the rest of his IGK team last time around, so we'll see how he does in the Haas this time. Very close to invalidated there as he heads towards the finish line. He goes into second position for now. It looks like Boss has invalidated his lap. Aero moving up into second place. Let's see what Lee Findlay can do then. Lee having a solid, well, he's been improving. It's fair to say, as the season's gone on. His best finish last time around with 12, but he's just run a bit wide there coming out of turn 10. That is not what you want to do. That is lap invalidated for him. We'll have plenty of time to get another run in. But let's see what our championship leader is doing then. Still at the top is Blizzard at the moment. Only 7 points now. The gap reduced after his worst result so far of the season. Still managed to finish in the top 6, but he would have been expecting a lot more after starting from pole position last time out. So we'll see what Blizzard can do. Liam, one of the Comrade Gaming drivers, teammates with Blizzard, he's gone on the medium tyres and set a 130.719. So it'll be interesting to see whether he changes as the session goes on. Caden, currently fastest driver on circuit at the moment in time. So let's see how this goes then for Blizzard. What sort of pace is he going to show early on in this session? He'll be hoping for a good result. Knows that there's a lot of IGK drivers perhaps plotting to work against him, and slipstreaming is going to be crucial in this qualifying session along this long straight here. Doesn't look like anyone's going for that tactic at the moment, but I would imagine we will see a lot of slipstreaming later on in this session. Still obviously 2/3 to go. A lot of the drivers still setting their first laps in the session, so we'll see what Blizzard does. He decides he's not happy with that, dives into the pits, nearly heading into the now tarmac runoff area where Lewis Hamilton's dreams of a first world championship went up in smoke. It looks like most of the drivers have at least attempted their first one. I think Lee Finlay, I'm not sure if he's just going to give a bit of slipstream to his teammate here. We'll have to wait and see. Now it looks like they're just on their way back to the pits, both of the Mercedes team. Mitchie currently in 4th position, but it is Caden on top at the moment. Gill carrying on the good form, and Davio, only drivers so far to get into the 1:28 region. And sure, we're going to see a lot more improvements as Domi rejoins the session, so he'll get to have an attempt at least and see what sort of time he can set in this session. Interesting tactic from Liam though to go on the medium tyres. You'd expect everyone pretty much you'd expect to try and qualify on the soft tyres, probably changing to the hards, maybe to the mediums if they feel balanced enough, and you never know if you are going to get an early safety car. That could just completely throw everyone's plans out of the water. Davio looks as though he's heading back towards the pits at this moment in time. Yeah, Davio just taking it steady. Need to be a bit careful there. The driver seems to be getting very close to that inside edge of the pits. I'm sure they've practiced plenty of times, but under the pressure tonight at AOR, you never know if they're going to get it wrong. Boss out on another out lap. He's got Iamotti just ahead of him, so he might see a bit of teamwork from IGK here. Not teammates in-game in the Constructors' Championship sense, but they are, of course, in the same esports stable. Just have a quick look at what the Teams Championship is at the moment here in AOR F1. It's AlphaTauri took the lead last time out from Williams. They're 2 points ahead of Williams now. Haas in 3rd on 42 points. McLaren and Ferrari, only teams not to get in double figures yet. Still early days, so Dario and Boss will be hoping for a good performance, especially to pull away from Ferrari, who don't appear to have any drivers here tonight. So that is going to be a big shame for them, obviously not being able to pull their way up the order. So we'll see if there's any teamwork going on here. Still 10 minutes to go. Most of the drivers have been out for their first run, at least attempted to set a lap time. Only 8 were successful. It looks like Lee Finlay might be thinking about a medium tyre run as well here, which could be very interesting indeed. If you can get into the top 10s on those mediums, it could be a big advantage, giving you that fresher rubber at the end of the race. And as we've already explained at the start of this session, plenty of opportunities for an overtaking manoeuvre to go on around this circuit. Most of the drivers, though, still just getting a bit used to it. It's fair to say it's not a driver's favourite track. This one can be quite technical, can be quite tricky, not the most exhilarating to drive around, and as we'll probably see tonight, could see a lot of drivers getting stuck in a DRS train at various points. Aero, see how he's doing then as he comes through turns 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Was up in 2nd at the early stages of this session. He's now 6th, half a second behind Caden at this moment in time. Slight improvement though as he comes through the first sector, so this might give him a chance of an improvement. Bit of traffic up ahead of him. Dario just about getting out of the way there. I don't think he was expecting Aero to head over to that side of the track. It'll be interesting to see whether the stewards have anything to say about that, because that could have ended very nastily indeed for the Shizou driver. Thankfully though, no harm done. We'll have a check what his Sector 2 time is to see if it has compromised him at all, and no, 2 tenths up. So if he carries this improvement on through the final sector, which, gotta say, if he finds an extra tenth, he could go up ahead of Dario, possibly even challenge the top 2 drivers, but obviously still a long way to go in this session, with Caden and Gil just coming out onto their second runs as well. DRS open, ERS obviously activated. Could be interesting to see if we see any drivers try and save a bit of ERS at points in qualifying to make sure they don't run out. I don't think that will be an issue around here, but they are going to be pretty close as they head around the final corner. Aero managing to keep it clean, then just running out of ERS as he comes across the line, and he does slot into that 3rd position for now. Boss moving up into 5th. We are seeing quite a few more drivers improve here. Caden around the final corner. Would have been a very slight improvement for him, but his lap was invalidated. Gil, though, he's kept it nice and clean. Last week's race winner, provisional pole position with 7.5 minutes to go then. 128.655 for the Alpha Tauri driver. Who else have we got on a hot lap? Dario just about to start. His surface is improved ever so slightly. He was the first non-IGK finisher last week, managing to finish in 4th position. So, very decent performance from him there. His best of the season so far, currently 5th in the championship. So, could be a dark horse as the season goes on. I'm sure he'll be wanting to show the pace to get a win. And he's just invalidated coming around the final corner. Would have been good enough that lap to just moving up 1 place into 6th. Dario not improving too much at the moment, so there's a few drivers have found a couple of attempts, but we have seen a few invalidations from various people. Caden, perhaps most obviously, and we are now going to see the beautiful slipstream in effect from the McLaren boys here. Boss giving Dario a lovely tow down this straight. You can see 209 miles an hour, so a couple of miles an hour quicker than what we saw from Gil earlier on. 6 minutes to go then, a 1/3 of this session to go. Is Dario's tow going to help him to the top of the timing sheets here then in Shanghai as he comes around the final corner towards the finish line? Not quite enough to topple Gil, but it's an IGK 1-2 here. The McLaren slotting onto the front row of the grid. Iamotti on an outlap at the moment. Still quite a few drivers in the pit, so a lot of drivers seem to be quite happy leaving this very late on. Interesting tactics, I've got to say, from these boys. There we go then. Iamotti just on his outlap at the moment. Showed good form at the start of AOR F2 last season, in season 19, the short season on F1 2019. Sort of faded off in the middle of the season. He doesn't really look to have kicked on this game. 9th place so far. His only point scoring finish, so we'll have to see if he can improve here. He's in 8th position at the moment. Whether you want to start in the lower points of the top 10, I'm not quite so sure. I think you'd rather be outside the top 10 and have that free choice of tyres. Everyone just seems to be sitting and waiting for the end of this session. No one clearly wants to put too much wear on their tyres, maybe thinking about a 2-stop strategy, maybe thinking about possible virtual safety cars or full safety cars, but it's got very quiet here in China. All the drivers seem to be socially distancing from each other and all making sure they're remaining nice and safe in their garages. At this moment in time, they do realise there's only 4.5 minutes left and they need to get a move on, especially... Still got 5 drivers yet to set a time at the moment. Blizzard, Suso, Lee Finley, Domi and CRG Gamer still yet to set a lap, so this could be very interesting indeed. Liam, it looks as though he's currently in 9th place. It looks as though he's going to go onto the soft tyres on his next one. Lee still thinking about seeing what he can do on the mediums, and you've got to say, with there being a few drivers yet to set a lap time, they haven't got a banker in as Iamotti. Massive drift there through turn 10. Huge moment. Did very well to hold it and still improves on his personal best. So who knows what he did on his earlier lap, but he's putting in a fantastic performance. Got to say, at this moment in time, and it just looks as though he's actually backed off now on this lap. So it looks like Iamotti's had enough of this lap, not able to find an improvement. Probably overheated his tyres, I think it's fair to say, through that middle sector and that big moment. But we've still got most of the drivers still in the pits. Gamer and Boss heading out onto circuit at the moment. We'll see, is Iamotti thinking about going for another run? No, he just dives straight into the pits. So we're getting towards the crunch point of this session. 3 minutes 20 remaining. Only 9 drivers set a time. Now we've got a few more heading out onto track. Blizzard and Liam going out as one in the Williams cars. Interestingly, the Red Bulls seem quite spread out on track at the moment. So Caden and Gamer clearly thinking that the slipstream not worth it if it ends up going completely wrong. Rain at the end of the race, apparently. This could make things very interesting indeed. This could spice things up a bit, and maybe we'll see a few different setups, a few drivers compromising on straight line speed to give them a bit more downforce and grip in the wet conditions. It says it's at the end of the race. I've seen the game say it happened at the end of the race before, and we've had rain in the first 6 or 7 laps. So predicting the weather is a very brave thing indeed around here. So let's see what Blizzard can do at the moment. No, actually, we'll go up to the McLaren. IGK Boss. We'll see if the McLarens are giving each other the slipstream again. And it does look that way. Dario, you can see just ahead of Boss, who's 600ths of a second up at the moment. This will probably be his final hot run, his final chance to challenge the top 4 drivers. Still Gill and then his teammate Dario. Top 2 at the moment. Caden didn't improve on his second run. He's 3rd. Aero is in 4th. You can see Boss getting that toe here. Dario moving out of the way at the last second. Is that going to help improve him? He's going to get a bit of a toe off the Mercedes up ahead as well, which could prove very handy indeed. A bit unintentional, but I'm sure Boss will take it gladly. Where is this going to put the McLaren? Stays in 5th position. Actually lost a bit of time in the final sector, so wonder if he got caught in a bit of dirty air, which just compromised him though. Most of the drivers now coming on to their final laps. Blizzard. Looks like he's actually going to be the one giving his teammate a slight toe down this straight. So they came out of the pits together, but they've split up slightly. We've got the AlphaTauri of Gill now in between them as we're getting towards the end of this session. So drivers trying a few different things. Interesting to see the different tactics from the teams. Gamer currently down in last position in the Red Bull. His teammate Caden currently holds onto 3rd slot, and Gamer's heading back into the pits. He wasn't happy with that lap. He'll be starting from the back of the grid, as will Dommy by the looks of things. Blizzard backing off to give his teammate the toe, I think, so this will probably get repaid next time around, but he won't have the freshest tyres to maybe set a hot run on. Caden coming around the final couple of corners now. Can he move himself up the grid? He hasn't had a toe, unlike Dario. We've got some lovely assistance from his teammate last time around, so he's kept it clean through the final corner this time. Can Caden take pole position? Improves his time, not his place. Stays in 3rd for now. Liam coming around the final corner. This is a big improvement, as you'd expect, on the soft tyres. He's slowed down. He wants to start on the mediums. He does not fancy being on them soft tyres whatsoever. Interesting tactics indeed going on here from all of the drivers. Lee Findlay, he's on the medium, so he's another one who fancies starting on that medium tyre run. Dario was unable to improve. He stays in 2nd as the checkered flag comes out. So can anyone challenge Gill at this moment in time? Who's going to be the next person? Blizzard retiring from the session. Interesting that a lot of drivers don't seem to want to set a qualifying time around this track. They almost want the fresher tyres. No one wants to be in that top 10 on the older tyres. We'll see what Surface can do at this moment in time. He's got Aero not too far behind him. Surface 7th in the Renault. Aero 4th in the Racing Point. So we'll see how the Renault can do then around the final corner. Keeps it nice and clean. Running over that curb perfectly. Good lap from him. Moves him up into 4th. Less than a 10 off pole position. It's looking very close indeed. Only a slight improvement so far from Aero. We've got Lee Findlay. He's just heading around the final corner now. We'll see where he goes on the medium tyres. Now, I think that was actually Mitchie who's just slowed down across the line. So we are seeing this tactic. Lee Findlay's retired from the session as well. Dario, we knew couldn't improve. Aero finds a slight improvement, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to challenge Gill. He looks safe to get pole position. Cuts the final corner. So it's a good job most of the others backed off. Would have been a faster time, but obviously invalidated the lap. Could we see medium tyres to the end of the race? It's very possible. because it looks like a lot of drivers want to see what the weather is like before deciding their strategy. 5 cars not setting a time is weird in any qualifying session. Never mind one where it's been dry conditions. Sometimes you might see it at a few street circuits when it's wet and accidents happen. But this is very interesting indeed. Very interesting that all the drivers, well, the majority of the drivers, seem to have just decided, I didn't want to set a final run then. But it is Gil on pole position then this time around. Can he take the victory? Can he take 2 wins in a row and become the first multiple winner this season? He's in pole position. Dario just behind in second. Caden, his first lap proving to be good enough for 3rd position. Surface 4th. Aero 5th in the racing points. Boss, Iamotti, Michi 6th, 7th, 8th. Liam and Blizzard making it a CRG 5th row of the grid. Suso, Lee Findlay, Domi and Gamer. They didn't set a time. Neither did Blizzard. So the bottom 5 going to get fresh tyre choice here. Liam starting on the mediums. This could be interesting. This could be a very interesting round 4 of AOR Season 20. Now we know we've got rain coming later on in the race, and it doesn't look as sunny as qualifying, but I wouldn't say it looks overcast at the moment. The clouds looking a bit more fluffy than threatening at this moment in time. So, interesting to see what tyres we go on. That might give us an idea whether we are going to get the rain or not. And what point we will get the rain. Will it be late enough? What blocks in the weather map will it come in? Because a few times I've seen it before where it says only the last block is going to rain, and then lap 8 and 9 the rain has come. So, very interesting point like Big C's made as well. Not a lot of drivers here. It makes sense to know that you won't be starting that far down the grid if you don't set a qualifying time. And obviously it gives you the optimum strategy. 10th place, 9th place even, being good enough for someone to start on the mediums in the case of Liam. So they're all getting their setups and strategies ready now. And I pray to the Lord of everything that this isn't another brilliant Cody's lobby. Oh, there we go. We are getting readied up now. So, looks like we'll all be ready. Who do you guys think is going to take the victory then? Who will get the win? Will we see a 4th different winner this season? So far, we've had Domi taking the win in round 1, Blizzard round 2, Gil last time out at Vietnam. Will the overseas races end with a 4th different winner? Or will we have someone taking a repeat victory? I've got to say, it's maybe looking good for Blizzard starting outside. Well, starting on fresh tyres, starting in 10th position at the moment. We will see what tyres then everyone is going on here. As we expected, hards actually for everyone who had free choice. Apart from Domi, he's going for the medium. So whether he thinks he can stretch them long enough or he doesn't trust the weather and he thinks the rain might come a bit earlier, we'll have to wait and see. We knew the top 8 would be on soft tyres. Liam on used mediums. That's the strategies that the game is suggesting. Medium hard, soft, medium hard. I'd expect those that are on the soft tyres to go to the mediums if we are expecting rain, or maybe to the softs again. Obviously they don't have to use 2 different types of dry tyres in a wet race. This entire strategy is going to be a gamble for a few guys on when this rain comes. If it comes earlier than they're expecting, Liam and Domi are in the pound seats. If it comes right at the end, Blizzard, Suso, Lee Findlay and Gamer will probably be the ones taking the podium slots around here. If you do want to see some more AOR action, you can check out the Xbox One Tier 1 and PC Tier 1. They start at 8 o'clock, as well as PC Tiers 2 to 4. And obviously you'll be able to watch all the races on the channel after they've been broadcast. Also make sure to check AOR out in the week for Project Cars action, iRacing action and many other games as well. So Gil seems to be wanting to get a hurry up on this formation lap, and no one really seems to be following him at the moment. Dario going for the more Kimi Raikkonen tactic. Now he starts weaving his tyres ever so slightly. I don't think they want to get them too hot, as if they don't want to cook them before the race actually starts. Gamer right at the back, one of the many, one of 5 drivers, so just over a third of the field, not setting a time in that session, not wanting to do anything, not wanting to get a time on the soft tyres, being the lower part of the top 10 and being on a compromised strategy. As you can see him with a barrel load of understeer there as he's trying to get some more heat into those tyres. Could be a very interesting and strategical 28 laps around this circuit, and you might see the drivers trying to take it a bit more careful to just survive until the rain comes and get those tyres to last as long as possible. So it's Gill, last week's race winner, on pole. Can he make it 2 in a row? He's got Dario behind him. Caden showing good pace on the early laps. He's not too far behind either. We wait for the lights to come on here in China. We've got 5 lights. The Chinese Grand Prix then is underway, and it's a very good start from Gill from pole position. Dario not getting away well, and Caden's going to try and go all the way around the outside at turn 1. This will be a fantastic move on the first lap if he can hold it off, if he can keep that inside line for turn 3 at this moment in time. It looks like he's done so. So Gill leading, Caden second, Aero now trying to force his way past the McLaren as well. You've got Surface in 5th position. Liam and Blizzard battling further back as well. Teammates won't want to take each other out. Aero trying to go all the way around the outside at this moment in time. As you can see, a bit of wheel spin there from Dario, as if he's not got his tyres up to temperature quite at this moment in time. Lee Findley's moved up 2 positions, as is Gamer. So Aero just not managing to get that at the moment. He's already gone up 1 position. Surface dropping 1. Looks like the clean side of the grid proving to be an advantage at the moment. But Gill, 7/10 of a second lead at the moment from Caden. Dario still looks to be struggling ever so slightly with the tyres. They will have warmed up a bit more now. Everyone through the first few corners cleanly. Everyone through the first... Well, looks like we're almost through the first lap cleanly. Let's not talk too soon in case we get a dive bomb into the hairpin. I can't see where we'd get one though. Boss looks as though he's trying to close into Surface. Obviously no DRS until lap 3, despite what the game might say when they cross the finish line this time around. And you can see Boss trying to go around the outside there of Surface. Nothing doing. Mitch not in a close enough place to take advantage of that. But it's been an absolutely storming first lap, you've got to say, from Gill. Already a second ahead of Caden at this moment in time. Dario still in second, then Aero. Dario still in third, sorry. Aero is in 4th, then Surface, Boss. Got Mitch in just behind them at this moment in time. But Gill making hay while the sun shines. Gamer, early pit stop for the medium tyres and a new front wing. So his hard start tactic hasn't gone to plan for Gamer. He'll be well down at the back of the field, at least so. He's got some free air to use them tyres, and maybe the rain's coming a bit earlier, and that's why he's changed to the mediums. We'll have to wait and see. He's not chased for the soft, so it does look as though it is going to be towards the end of the race. He might have to be a bit careful, though, on these tyres. Looks like Domi has dropped back ever so slightly as well at this moment in time. Seems to be struggling. I'm not sure if he's actually been able to get control of his car, as he did disconnect earlier on at this moment. So we'll have to wait and see. Gill, though, 1.6 seconds at the moment. No tyre saving from Gill. He is just going for it at the start of this race. He's absolutely flying. See already Caden thinking about the defence from Dario. Next time he'll have to defend a lot more than that. Just trying to break the toe at this moment in time. We will have this DRS train from second down to 7th place. So if we are going to see an undercut, those further down at the back of it, Surface, Boss, Ian Motti's actually not too far behind. It's a bit of a longer train than we thought, although it does look like the Mercedes has just dropped back ever so slightly. Very early defence from Caden. He's now nearly 2 seconds off the back of Gill. Just lightning pace in qualifying. Just doesn't seem to have any pace at the moment in the race. And to be fair, no one else but Gill's looking like they've got anything to challenge the AlphaTauri driver at the moment. 2 seconds, 2 laps. This is like watching Vettel back in his Red Bull days. He's absolutely flying away at the front of the field. Dario not close enough to even think about a move this time around into turn 6. He'll just be keeping it careful, saving his ERS obviously for that long back straight. One of the longest straights in Formula 1. Coming out of turn 13, flat on the throttle, all the way to turn 14. Very heavy braking zone. Will wear the front tyres out throughout the race, putting a lot of load through them. I expect to see a few lockups as well as the race gets later on. Now, how early will Caden go defensive this time? He went to break the toe last lap around, but it probably, well, definitely wasn't necessary. I wasn't expecting Dario to really go for it. This time around, he's not doing it as harsh I don't think Davio is really close enough to have a go. Someone who might be close enough to have a go, though, is Liam. Iamotti was just inside that DRS window, actually. He popped outside on the screen, but that's not going to stop Liam. He's still thinking about sending one down the inside there into the hairpin on the medium tyres. Nice, Liam up into 8th position. Are we already getting to a point where these mediums are slightly better than the soft tyres, as Iamotti has come into the pits then. So Iamotti, very early pit stop, just getting it slowed down. Well, getting it slowed down in time. He was 30 miles an hour across that line, leaving loads to spare. He's into the pits. Blizzard and Lee Findlay battling through turns 1, 2 and 3. The Williams staying ahead of the Mercedes driver for now. And this could be a great chance for Lee Findlay, Liam, some of those who haven't had the best start to the season, to maybe push themselves up as it goes on. Cracking pace, though, you've got to say, still at this moment in time from the race leader, Gill. You can see he's already round turn 9 as Caden's still coming through turn 8. Seems to be struggling a bit. Just taking it careful, maybe saving the tyres a bit more, maybe thinking I can go on the second set of softs to last until the rain comes. We'll have to wait and see. We know it's coming near the end. Can't give you any more information than that at this moment in time. Caden taking a slightly wider apex there to try and get a better exit. Didn't really work. I don't think there's going to be much he can do here from Davio. He's not bothering putting overtake on. He's not bothering going defensive whatsoever. And that is going to be a straightforward move for the McLaren driver, who gets himself back into 2nd position. Further down the back of the field, Suso just outside the points at this moment in time. He thinks ever so slightly of just showing his nose to Lee Findlay, just reminding him he's there. Suso, first DNF of the season last time around, as Aero and Mitch come into the pits. So, seeing a few more drivers pit, seeing a few more of them higher up the order now, coming into the pits as Suso gets very close there to the back of Lee Findlay. Out in front, though, on lap 5, 3 seconds at this moment in time. Got to say, it's looking pretty comfortable and pretty under control. He could afford to go a lap later than everyone else into the pits and just have the fresher tyres and just take it nice and easy at this moment in time. Unless we get a safety car, unless the rain comes at exactly the wrong moment for Gill, it's looking fairly straightforward that he might get his 2nd victory of the season, which would be good enough at this early stage. Unless Blizzard finishes in 2nd place, well, they'd be tied on points if they finish in 2nd place. Gill would take the lead on countback anyway if he takes the win here. So really big opportunity for him. And interestingly, Caden, he's close to the back of Dario. He stayed within a second, but he's not able to really put him under any pressure at this moment in time, as Aero and Domi battling. I think Domi's definitely not in the session, which is a shame for him. So Aero just moving ahead of him at the moment. He's the lead driver of those that have already pitted. That's going to be something to watch. 25.8 seconds off the lead of the race at this moment in time. Are we going to see any more of these top drivers come into the pits then? Just see up ahead, and yes, the McLaren, we've got all the top 3 coming into the pits. I think this is going to be everyone else on the soft tyres in. Boss has got to hope for a good pit stop from his crew then. So Blizzard in 2nd place, Liam in the lead. We've got a Williams 1-2, lap 6 out of 28, but it's all down to the strategy. And these boys will be hoping, well, Liam will be hoping that it rains earlier than Blizzard does, because Blizzard's on the hards. Liam on the mediums, not really getting away at this moment in time. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes for him. Gill looking absolutely lightning, though. Comes out in 5th place. Still ahead of Aero. Fantastic undercut for him. He's gone for the medium tyres. So has Surface and a few of the others. We've got here Boss going for the hards, as did Caden, Dario and Gill. But it looks like everyone else has pitted, has gone for the medium tyres. So a difference in strategy here. What could be interesting is how much can Aero use those medium tyres to try and close up. He's in a net 2nd position at this moment in time. 3.3 seconds the gap back from Gill to the racing point. And Caden still in now what is a net 4th place. Just hasn't had the same pace in the race as he has had in qualifying. I mean, to be fair, no one's had the same pace as Gill in the race as they had in qualifying. We had the top 4 separated by 1/10 of a second as Caden really lock it up That front left hard tyre still making the apex though into turn 11. So wouldn't have affected him too much, but just not close enough to really give this a go. Down the straight, he's got overtake on, turns it off early. He knows it's just going to be worth saving this and waiting until later on. Closes in ever so slightly. Not really worth anything for him. Domi still dropping down the field. That's now the Mercedes and Mitch getting ahead of him. Decent battle though maybe here between Iamotti, Boss and Gamer. So Gamer pitted slightly earlier with his damage. Front wing obviously ruined his strategy because he was one of those that started on the harder tyre in last place. Got damage on lap 1. Unfortunately, we didn't see it. He might have to go a bit longer than these guys on these mediums and maybe a bit longer than he likes as Boss thinks about sending one into turn 1. Gamer leaving him a car's room there and nothing more. And again, this is getting very close between the two of them here. Gamer's still there. He's going to have extra traction, I think, at this point still. Gets a better exit. Boss thinking about taking the wider apex. Gave it a try. Didn't really work out for him. So he stays in 13th for now. And what that did do is put Boss under real pressure here from Iamotti down in last position at this moment in time. He seemed to struggle a bit earlier on the soft tyres and was the first driver on the softs to come into the pits. But yeah, have to see if he can get any points. It's still wide open this race, you've got to say, all depending on when the rain comes. Liam, he's now pulling away from his teammate ever so slightly. I think now that he's not in traffic and he can use them fresh medium tyres, he is pushing at the moment. He's got the gap up to 3.2 seconds. Gill is still in 5th position, still 2.8 ahead of Aero. Blizzard has Suso and Lee Findlay all over the back of him. Suso looking very threatening into the hairpin last time around as they start lap 8 out of 28 here. Further back down the field, Iamotti has got ahead of Boss Wanted for now. Straightforward DRS pass by the looks of things. Goes a bit deep into the hairpin though. Surface fastest man on track last lap around. Perhaps not too surprising given he's on those fresh medium tyres. And what that is allowing him to do is catch up to Caden and Dario. All of a sudden, we have a 3-car battle for what is now 7th place. And Surface is on the medium tyres. So it might just be worth him, not this time around because he's not close enough, but maybe having a go into this hairpin here at turn 6 on the medium tyres. He should be able to get a better grip through turns 1 to 4. And then obviously he doesn't have to worry about getting stuck in a DRS train. But there's a reason why I commentate and not drive. Anyone who's seen me driving, even in real life if I'm being honest, will know that. So have to see how Surface plays this here. He doesn't want to get stuck in a DRS train. He wants to use those medium tyres to their full potential at this moment in time, because at this far back it's going to be very difficult for him to catch up to Caden and pass him using a conventional DRS overtake. Further up, Suso closing up ever so slightly to Blizzard. He's just ran out of ERS, so trying to go all the way round the outside. Bit of contact between the two of them. Blizzard just remains ahead for now. This battling obviously allowing Liam to pull away. Gap nearly 4 seconds now at the head of the field. Further down, it seems like Gamer is getting away from Iamotti at the moment. Blizzard having to go very defensive into turn 1. Could we see Suso send one out the outside? Not this time around. Tries for cutback. Doesn't work either. Just running wide. Taking that wider line to get a better run through 3 and 4. Seeing our first penalty there for the Mercedes of Mitch. We'll see what he can do as the rest of the race goes on. We saw how close penalties were last time. Gill got the win by 18 thousandths of a second from Zach. So hopefully we get a similar close battle, but maybe on track this time around. That would be a treat if we were that close at the finish line, and it's going to be a wet race near the end, so we still don't really know how that's going to pan out. Surface looking a bit closer to the back of Caden this time around. Still not close enough to send one into turn 6 though, so you can just see him washing out, understeering in the dirty air. Much bigger factor on this game than it has been in previous years. Needs to get imaginative maybe with the overtake here. Davio's definitely not getting away from Caden, but just seems to be able to keep the Red Bull under control. It's not like he's ever looked as though he's been at threat at getting repassed since he made the overtake just before the pit stop period. These are losing time to Aero, who's now 2.5 seconds up the road. Gill a bit over 2.7 seconds up the road from that, and Gill in 5th place, as you can see, 12.296 seconds there behind Liam, who's still putting in a decent pace at the moment. And you can see Caden and Surface just not getting close enough to the back of the car in front to enact an overtake. Suso got close to going around the inside at turn 1 last time around. Is he going to be able to do it here? Got closer, definitely got closer this time. He's forcing Blizzard into more and more defensive moves. That gap at the front of the race now between the Williams, 4.8 seconds, and it's just going to grow. Every lap Blizzard has to defend. Can we see a move all the way around the outside? This would be a fantastic overtake from the racing point. If he can pull it off, he's just going to find himself getting shoved onto the curb though. Blizzard well within his rights to do that. And Lee Findlay not really close enough, it's fair to say, to take advantage of all that happening. He's maybe thinking, I'll just stay a bit further back and let these two have the battle, wear their tyres out, take advantage later on, or hopefully they don't, or if they have an incident, maybe I can take advantage that way. But he's staying in 4th place for now. Not sure whether he's just choosing to stay back from these guys or whether he hasn't got the pace to stay back from these guys. Didn't really see a lot from qualifying. You've got to say this season though, Suzo and Blizzard have definitely been quicker than the Mercedes man. Caden again in that situation where he's not close enough to Dario, but just far enough ahead of Surface that he doesn't really need to worry about the Renault. So this is what I meant about the DRS train. Surface needs to think about where else he can get the move done. He does seem to be closing this time around and might be close enough for a very late dive bomb on the brakes on those medium tyres. He's definitely thinking about keeping his nose in there. He's got his whole car alongside here. Caden's going to get the better exit, but that's going to relieve the pressure from Dario. Caden able to retake the racing line though, so he's giving it a try, Surface. He's giving it a try. That's all we can really ask of him if we want to see some racing action here, but he's finding it difficult. What is becoming evident though on lap 11, those clouds aren't looking as nice and friendly and fluffy as they were earlier. They're a lot greyer. The rain might not be too far away at this moment in time. What this battling, I was going to say it's allowing Mitch to catch up, but he's not really. That gap stayed about 3 seconds. Iamotti, Gamer and Boss still staying further back as well. So we have got the pack sort of splitting into these groups. Liam at the lead. You've got 2nd to 4th in a group. Gil, Aero both on their own. Dario, Caden, the Surface, what you can see at the moment. Mitch on his own. And then Gamer to Boss in a sort of a group from 11th to 13th. And Domi obviously unable, which is a shame for him, to take back control of his cars. We get a lovely helicopter shot there. As you see the gaps concertining up in the braking zone. The McLaren able to get on the throttle earlier. Just able to pull away that advantage at this moment in time and keep hold of that place. Suso, he's pretty much pushing Blizzard through some of these corners, but the Williams driver not really having to go ultra defensive into the hairpin, it must be said. Suso seems to get much better run through the final corner. Blizzard having to stay to the inside, and I wonder here, and again, Suso's not got any ERS. Is it worth him just maybe having a lap where he doesn't go for the overtake here? He's got a long way around the outside, just gets onto the marbles though at the exit of 2, and that's it done. Blizzard can hold on to the place, but I wonder if Suso, he might be better off just saving a lap of ERS, not thinking about it here. He is thinking about it, but we've already seen around the outside here what Blizzard is going to do for him. Now he thinks about the cutback. Blizzard very cleverly, he's a wily old fox, is Blizzard, just keeps it parked on the apex, prevent that cutback from happening. You can see Blizzard 14% ERS, Suso only on 13. He just saves it next lap around. Blizzard might be under pressure if the racing points stop clipping at that 10% point on not only the back straight, the main overtaking point, but also the pit straight as well. And here's a man we haven't really seen so far, because ever since the pit stops, he's just been on his own, doing his own thing and extending that gap. Liam, 6.3 seconds ahead then at this moment in time. Got a podium round 1 of the season. He's been pointless since then. And if this works out with the rain, he could well be in prime position to take the victory. If it starts raining heavily in the next few laps, he might have a chance. Suso almost getting alongside there. He's finding himself pushed wide more and more by Blizzard, who still holds on to that position. I fear this is going to be a carbon copy of the last few laps for the racing point. He looks a bit closer, a bit earlier this time. You can see him pulling out of the slipstream. Is he able to get the corner this time around? It looks like he's done it then. Suso still just about got his car ahead. Blizzard's fighting back. Suso's going to have the inside line here though for turn 3. Is Blizzard able to keep his car hanging in along on the outside here on the run down through 5 and 6? Again, it looks like Blizzard's alongside. It looks like he's got ahead once more. That's definitely the closest Suso he's been. He's still fighting for it. Has to give up the position, but you can see gap at the front of the field. Now up to 7 seconds. I don't know whether he's doing this on purpose, Blizzard, to help his teammate. If he is, this is a fantastic team game he is playing at the moment, because it definitely looks like Suso, if he could get ahead, might be able to overtake. What this has done is brought Lee Findlay ever so slightly closer, and as you'll be able to see, Gill's not too far back either, and Gill's still 2.2 seconds ahead of Aero at this moment in time. Back for the battle for 7th place. It looks, as you can see, Davio still in 7th, not under pressure from Caden, not under pressure from Surface. Dirty air really affecting these guys. Surface especially tried something different on the medium tyres. Unless if it starts raining in the last couple of laps, he might have to pit again for a set of softs, depending on how much he's taken out of the tyres this time around. Suso not close enough to have a go into the hairpin. Are we going to see the 4th, 5th, 100th attempt, it feels like here? Suso again. He's going to have to go to the outside. Doesn't look as close as he was last time around. So, can he get the apex of the corner ahead of Blizzard this time around? Don't think he can. I think there might have been a tiny bit of contact there. That pushed Suso wide. Stays in 3rd position. Will he get a better exit through here to have a go into turn 6? Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's dropped back a bit further. So this is getting very interesting indeed. Gamer and Iamotti having a battle all of a sudden through turn 1. Iamotti's pulled away from Boss ever so slightly. And the Haas nearly facing the wrong way. As I'm not sure whether we saw a spot of rain then, or whether I'm just seeing things as my eyes get worse and I've not got my glasses on. But I do think we've got rain. I do think we have got some rain here. So this might work out well. Domi, his AI car coming into the pit. So if his AI car thinks it's time for intermediates, that at least might be something useful for some of these other drivers to find out. This might have worked out absolutely brilliantly for Liam. There's definitely spots appearing now. It's nowhere near wet enough yet. You put the intermediates on, you'll have burnt them out within a lap. But a couple more laps time, if Liam's got enough tyres left, which he should have, could well see the intermediate tyres come. And at the moment, we might see a Williams 1-2. Suso's got something to say about that though. Just can't get ahead enough to stop Blizzard just cutting him off there. 7.5 seconds for gap now at the lead, and we're nearly on a 4-car train for 2nd place. Suso having a big moment through the final corner. Is Lee Findlay going to be close enough to send one down the inside and maybe get a chance of getting himself onto the podium provisionally? Gill almost onto the back of these. Aero is 2.4 seconds further back. I think the mediums might be starting to get compromised now. Iamotti gets himself a penalty for multiple warnings. It's been an incredibly clean race, track limits wise, it's fair to say, and now Suso's in a bit of a different point as he's suddenly having to defend ever so slightly from Lee Findlay and not focus on attacking. So we'll just give Blizzard time to just build a bit of a margin, and this might get a bit tricky for some of the other cars. I was just about to say it might get tricky for the racing points, as Caden, he has sent one down the inside at turn 6. He's up into 7th position for now. Is he able to hold on to the position through the S's at 8, 7 and 8? Indeed he is. Great move from Caden up to 7th. But if the rain starts coming down heavy, Aero's in a bad position here. Only what, less than 3 seconds behind his teammate, and we know the double stack. No, the double stack isn't the best of tactics on this game, unless you've got a very good gap to your teammate, about 7 or 8 seconds. Lee Findlay might be getting overtaken here, though, by Gill. Those that have stopped earlier taking advantage of their fresher tyres to try and get back onto the podium. Gill down the inside. Lee not really choosing to defend that. He gets 4th position then for Gill. Lee Findlay is into 5th. Anyone going for the pit stop this time? No. Surface now battling with Davio. He seems to be struggling a bit more now that these conditions are getting wetter. Has Davio got a more of a dry setup, I wonder? We've got the Mercedes catching up as well all of a sudden. So there's a few laps there where it looks like Davio might have been slowing things up for these guys, and it's allowed Mitch in the Mercedes to close up. He's in 10th position at the moment. His teammate is in 5th, and you can see top 3 and 5th position yet to stop. They have played this one stop perfectly. And here's a man who I think will be absolutely gutted about this way this race has panned out. Damage on lap 1. He's down in 11th. He'd have been up there. He would have been up there right at the top. Hopefully, Bolts, hopefully Blizzard doesn't get the pit stop glitch. I think 8 seconds behind, unless the Williams pick crew are absolutely terrible, should be enough, but you never know in this game. Admittedly, the rain definitely coming down heavier. No DRS disabled sign yet, which is usually when it's the perfect moment. But are they going to risk it? Are we going to see anyone coming in this lap? There's no spray being kicked up. You can hear they're having to be a lot more careful on the throttle through some of these corners. Is Gill going to maybe try and have a go here on Suso? He got past Lee Findlay last time, despite the Mercedes having DRS. He's closing here again, and this could be 3rd place for the AlphaTauri driver. Down the inside he goes. Hopefully Blizzard's far enough ahead to avoid any dive bomb. Has Gill got the traction on the exit of the corner with the fresher tyres? Indeed he has. He is up into 3rd position, just onto lap 17 then. Still no one thinking it's wet enough yet for the intermediate tyres. No one going for an earlier pit stop just to try and get a run on some of these guys. Wonder if it'll be worth any of those further down, 11th, 12th and 13th. Will we see any of these coming to the pits? And there we go. Gamer into the pits. It's worth trying if this works. Iamotti and Boss have followed him in as well. This could be a fantastic tactic. You can either look a genius or an idiot when you do this. They're all hoping it is the former. Intermediate tyres the only option for all of these cars. Now it will be interesting to see how they do. Is it wet enough for the intermediates? Aren't we? It looks like we're almost at the crossover point, I've got to say, where dries have still got some decent pace, but this could be a big risk from these guys. If it pays off, they'll be looking fantastic as Surface and Michi are battling. They're really struggling. You can just hear it coming. A lot more spray, a lot of oversteer, or understeer. And you can see Surface really struggling to just hold on to that 9th place. Is the Mercedes able to get alongside? No, he is not. Gill, though, fresher tyres, more tread movement equals more temperature. More temperature means it's a lot easier to keep the track temperature and keep your conditions good in this weather. And you can see Blizzard goes for the defence. Gill for the 3rd lap in a row. Is he going to overtake someone into the hairpin? Or are we going to see another masterful defence from Blizzard, who just about hangs on for now? Liam's carrying on another lap. It looks like Gill, though, is into 2nd position. Are we going to see anyone dive into the pit? Suso's gone. First of the race leaders then to go for it. Game has lost about 2 seconds on this lap, it must be said. And Iamotti and Bots aren't all over the back of him as well, so maybe a lap or 2 early from Gamer. We'll have to wait and see. Mitch in as well in the Mercedes, so we are now seeing the first of the front runners at that moment in time. Suso coming in again. This could work, or it could backfire. I'm sure Liam's got to be one of the next drivers to come in. He's on 17 lap old medium tyres. He'd be struggling for grip in the dry. Never mind when the track is getting wetter and wetter. Still not really seeing any spray kicking off those tyres. And look, Gamer's lost about 3.5-4 seconds on that lap on the intermediates. It's just not wet enough at the moment for the intermediate tyres. They're still looking pretty good on the slicks at the moment, especially Gill, obviously having a bit more temperature, and with the pace he's shown earlier, 8 seconds off the lead of this race. Wouldn't write him out yet for a victory. It's going to take some fantastic driving, but I would not write him off yet for a victory. And are we going to see maybe the first pit stops from the leaders this lap around? Gill still really closing. Doesn't look like Suso's losing as much as Gamer was, so I think we are nearly at that crossover point, and we might see a pit stop from some of these guys. These mediums look, safe to say, they look past their best. And yes, we are now seeing more and more coming to the pits. Race leader then, Liam, into the pits, barely able to get it slowed down enough for that corner. Don't speed in the pit lane. Got to say it's in his hands at the moment. I think we are going to see the entire rest of the field coming into the pits then. They've all decided now is the time to put intermediates on. No one going on a lap longer. And I think this is the choice. This is when they've timed it absolutely perfectly. Will Suso actually gain any positions. It remains to be seen. So Liam out on the intermediates. Has this cost Blizzard any time? It looks like it has. It looks like it is going to cost him some places. Aero jumps ahead of him. And you're just going to see Suso coming down the straight. He's up into third place. So it was worth a try from him. And I'm not sure if he's gained anything from it. But I'm not sure if he's lost anything from it. The only person he has jumped ahead of is Blizzard, who obviously, with that pit stop glitch, Lee Finley dropped back a long way as well, because he's currently in 6th place. And there we go. There's the sign that it is officially wetted off now. DRS is disabled. What could be interesting here for Suso, though, is he's got his tyres nice and warm, nice and heated up. So we'll have to see how he does now relative to Gill. 6.3 seconds the gap at the front of the race. Gill really closing up in the final part. In the final part of that lap, I think just with the slightly fresher hard tyres compared to old mediums. Now we might see if anyone's gone for more of a wet setup in this race. And will we see a few others push up the field? I think Blizzard's going to be driving like a man possessed to try and get on that podium. He's got the 2 racing points of Suso and Aero ahead of him, 3rd and 4th at the moment. He knows he'd have been in 3rd place if he didn't get held up in the pitch. Tried to leave it long enough, just didn't work out for him. Gamer, Iamotti and Boss, it looks like it's going to be very difficult for them to get points. 11th, 12th and 13th here. Not ideal for any of those drivers. Tried pitting a bit earlier. I suppose he gained a bit on the second lap, but just lost 3 or 4 seconds on that first lap on the intermediate tyres. And that was really game over for those drivers. The field spacing out ever so slightly. Caden staying ahead of Dario. Surface did drop behind the Mercedes of Mitchen in 9th position. Can Caden close up and get ahead of Lee Findlay then? We know he doesn't need DRS to overtake. We saw him do that on Dario earlier into turn 6, which difficult enough in the dry. In the wet, it's a very brave move indeed as Boss picks up a 3-second time penalty. We might see a few more of those sneaking into the repertoire of a few of these drivers as the race now continues. Caden definitely not close enough this lap around. Suso not closing up to Gill that much, and Gill not really slamming that gap down to Liam at the moment. 9 laps to go, 6.5 seconds. Are we going to see our 4th different winner of the season? The second win it would be for Williams, which at the moment would definitely be good enough to put them into the lead of the Constructors' Championship, with Blizzard in 5th and Gill being the lone AlphaTauri driver at this moment in time. Gill knows if it stays as it is, he'd take a 1-point lead in the Drivers' Championship, so it's looking very close. This AOR Hype Energy F1 League, still obviously a long way to go, and it's the second of the new circuits coming next week. It will be the Dutch Grand Prix around Zandvoort, where Andy and Kieran should be back for that one. So that'll be a very interesting race indeed around the tight and technical Dutch circuit. Aero closing in, I'd say a smidgen to his teammate at the moment. Suso getting another big moment coming out of the final corner. We saw that a bit. As soon as the rain started coming down, Suso started struggling a bit more out of the final corner, and we're seeing that again. Caden is still closing up to Lee Findlay here, just obviously without DRS, just relying on pure slipstream. He's not able to do enough. It looks as though the sun's trying to break out. But I think now that they're on the intermediate tyres, unless it stops raining within the next lap or two, well, even if it stops raining in the next lap or two, I don't think it's going to get dry enough to where we're putting on a dry set of tyres and then making up that pit stop again. So, should be intermediates all the way to the end now. Caden looks to think about where he can have a go here on Lee Findlay. Maybe hoping Lee gets distracted by Dommy's disconnected Haas. It's been a better second half to the race from Caden. I think once the rain started coming down, he's looked a bit more comfortable. Maybe not due to a setup, obviously, because he looked so fast in qualifying. He just didn't look comfortable at the start of the race, and that allowed Gill to build up that big margin that we've seen him pull away. Caden still in 7th place, getting ahead of Dario. I've got with the Mercedes on Mitch. You can see just closing behind at the moment. We just saw him popping through there as he tries to get ahead of Dommy. Oh, look at the spray they're facing. This is the problem. You're getting the slipstream. especially in heavier rain conditions than this, you can't really see a thing. Gap at the front of the race has got down to below 6 seconds for 2 racing points. Oh, battling. It's like watching Perez and Ocon going at it again in 2018. Aero, though, getting ahead for now. I am wondering if Suso has a dry setup on that car, because he does seem to be struggling a lot more than his teammate. 1.5 seconds on that lap. Aero managed to gain. Will we see Aero maybe catch up to Gill? Will Suso be able to hold on to 4th place, or could Blizzard still catch up and get a top 4 finish, which would be good enough to give him the championship lead by a point? So, still all to play for in this race. 7 laps to go, and it is Liam. Called for strategy perfectly, set a time on the mediums. That was good enough for... That was good enough in 9th position in the end, as loads of the others didn't set a time. Pulled away from the rest of the pack as the others were battling after the first pit stops for Gill and the other leaders. Looks as though it might be good enough to get him the win of the race. Looks as though Gill might come close. Not quite close enough. Murray Walker said it. Catching up is one thing. Overtaking is another, and Caden's still behind Lee. I think Caden's probably, since he got passed by Dario, he's probably getting sick to the side of being stuck behind another car. He seems to have spent this entire race in the wheel tracks of the car in front. He couldn't pass earlier on when he had overtake, and well, when he had DRS. Might be a bit more tricky now that he hasn't. Is Lee able to get a better run through here? You can see just Caden slightly working at the wheel to try and keep it. Try and get the best possible traction. Doesn't want to be too slow because he knows Dario is right behind to take advantage. Doesn't want to be too heavy on the throttle as he knows he could end up facing the wrong direction. It could be no points all of a sudden if he ends up in the wall. Again, still not close enough to have a go at Lee Findlay, and he's running out of time. 6 laps to go for these guys. When they cross the line, Dario can't really go for a lunge. This is the problem. Caden and Dario can't send one, as they're both at risk of losing their place themselves if it goes horribly wrong. The Mercedes and Mitch just dropping back ever so slightly. He's now about a second as Dario thinking about getting one up the inside here. That's a big risk with the contact model on this game, because if that had have touched the rear of Caden's car, you'd have probably seen the McLaren spinning around there and dropping down to 10th place. That's given Lee Findlay a bit of free air. Are we going to see a move down here into the hairpin? Dario thinks about it, goes for it. Has he got the position done? Looks like he has. So Dario, in the end, goes for the move. Just got a better run through turn 1 there. Then Caden, that really compromised the Red Bull. Dario up into 7th. Can he catch up back to Lee Findlay to get close enough to have a manoeuvre? Or is the Mercedes still going on to 6th position? And will we see the NWS boys battling it out for 8 and 9? Surface just a second back as well in the Renault. Final points position at the moment. Doesn't have too much to worry about as Gamer Iamotti a further 12 seconds back. Gamer, I think, has been off the circuit. He's had a time penalty and he's lost a lot of time on track to Iamotti, so I think he's just ran wide through 9 and 10. That drops him down to 12th place. I think it's fair to say this race hasn't gone how he'd have planned after qualifying. Points in Bahrain with 8th, 10th in Vietnam. Not going to be any points for the Red Bull man this time around. Fastest lap of the race is sorted now. That is going to surface, so he's got himself a bonus point as long as he doesn't drop outside the top 10 or retire. So he knows he's guaranteed 2 points pretty much here with 5 laps to go. Can he catch up to the cars ahead? You can see the wheel tracks appearing now on the track, so it's definitely not going to get dry enough for slick tyres. We know that for a fact. Can't see it getting wet enough for the full wet tyres at the moment. Spray, standing water not looking anywhere near severe enough for the dry tyres to even be a consideration. For the wet tyres, sorry. Suso stuck behind his teammate now, so did drop back ever so slightly from Gill, dropped into the clutches of Aero, seemed to get passed fairly easily by his teammate, seems to have just held on to that position, which is good news for him. Blizzard in a race of his own now, really compromised by the double stacking here. Could have been on the podium, could have possibly been fighting Gill. I think it would have been hard with the pace the AlphaTauri's showing. Looks as though he might have to settle for 5th position at this moment in time. Then we've got this train of pretty much 5 cars then behind Lee Finlay at the moment. He's at the head of the train. Just gets a good exit through 11 and 12. Dario not able to get close enough. That gap half a second. They've got plenty of ERS now to being a bit more careful, obviously on corner exit, to not spin the rear tyres up. That could well end in a crash, as it looked like the other Mercedes was thinking of going down to Caden there. Caden running ever so slightly wide. 4 laps to go though for the leader of the race, Liam. Looking in control, 4.5 seconds ahead of Gill, who's pushing hard. Will still get the championship lead. He won't get that second victory though, thanks to the weather conditions, and I'm sure he's thinking if it wasn't for the weather, this would have been a slam dunk victory for him. As Boss now trying to get ahead of Gamer. Gamer seems to be struggling ever so slightly more. Can't see any damage. Boss up into 12th position, and Gamer now effectively last place after qualifying last. Obviously Domi still out of the session and unable to rejoin. But a very solid race from Aero, I must say. Sort of quietly got himself up into that podium slot. You can see he's only gained 2 places from his starting slot. Gained 1 on lap 1. Dropped back a bit after the first pit stops. But great pit stop from the Racing Point crew. And great pace on these intermediate tyres to get into 3rd position. You can see the biggest winners. Liam, obviously, up 8 positions. Suso up 7 places. Blizzard up 5. Lee Findlay up 6. So the alternate strategy really did work out well for Suso. I wonder if he's thinking, if only I'd got ahead of Blizzard a bit earlier, things might have been very different and he might have had a chance of getting the podium here. Doesn't look like he's under any pressure from Blizzard now. Doesn't look like Dario is pressurising Lee Findlay. Doesn't look like Caden is able to get close enough. So sort of all just fading towards the end of this race, that we might end up with the finishing positions as they are at the moment. You can see the biggest losers, Surface and Boss, really getting caught out by the changing strategy and the changing weather conditions, as did Dario and Caden. It's always the risk when you qualify high up, starting on the soft tyres does limit your strategy options if it is going to be changeable conditions in the race. So I think if they'd have had another chance, they might have gone for the tactic of Liam, Blizzard, Gamer and a few others, just not bothering to set a time or setting a time on the medium tyres. Dario, you can see, really fighting at that McLaren to try and keep it in a straight line, to try and keep the power down from this 900 plus brake horsepower Renault turbocharged V6 engine. Fighting with the car, keeps it pointing the right direction, stays in 7th place for now. Time running out if he wants to get close enough to get ahead of Lee Findlay at this moment in time. Can't go for a risk, as we said earlier, because now Caden would be there to take advantage. Surface has dropped ever so slightly back off Mitch in the Mercedes, so I think he's just comfortable with his 10th position at this moment in time. Aero still ahead of Suso, in fact extending the gap ever so slightly to up to a second. It looks like Gill's realised it's game, set and match for Liam with 2 laps to go at the end of this one. The gap 5 seconds at this moment in time. Again, Dario closed up through turn 11 and 12, dropped back ever so slightly once he get onto the straight. Now he's under pressure from Caden, who might try and get that move back. He's later on the brakes, he's all the way around the outside. He's got the position done, and Dario has left the session. So looking like it's going to be no points for the McLaren. Such a shame if that's a disconnect. It's been a decent performance from him. But Surface, you would expect to get ahead of him, and maybe even Iamotti as well with 2 laps to go. And now Lee Findlay still in this 6th place. Is he going to be under pressure from Caden, or has he got enough pace in that Mercedes to just hold it off and crucially, get his first points of the season? I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with that. And with the Mercedes season at the moment, Mitch the only person to score points. He's on 16 at the moment. So it'll be a big help for them. It would have been a big help for McLaren, but Dario's still in 10th place at the moment. Boss not going to get any points. So it looks like there's going to be no points for McLaren as they try to pull away from Ferrari at the foot of the table. Looks like that is going to be a fruitless task for these guys, and does look like the gaps are just spreading ever so slightly. Blizzard still on 2.5 seconds behind Suso. Just not able to close up to the back of him. Aero 1.5 seconds ahead of his teammate at the moment. Been a great result from Racing Point to take third and fourth position. Racing Point currently fourth in the championship. This would jump them well ahead of Haas at this moment in time. Haas not getting any points whatsoever. It looks like bad race for them. Red Bull picking up a few points with Caden. Renault picking up 3 points as it now looks from surface. But Liam, 5.3 seconds ahead, starts the final lap of the race. Can he take his first victory of the season and make it 4 wins out of 4? All he's got to do is negotiate the final 5.4 kilometres, the final 16 corners, now 13, now 12, and he will take a victory. And this could maybe give him the confidence he needs after 2 non-scores to put on a real title challenge in this season. Could we see the 2 Williams boys fighting it out? Looking like it's very likely this championship could be a CRG versus IGK team event. Almost, with how they've done, winning all 4 races. Well, we say all 4 races, unless something happens to Liam and Gil, it's going to be all 4 races. And it is looking pretty comfortable at the moment for Liam. Gil had the pace to win this race, just obviously starting on the soft tyres, strategy compromise, done well to work his way back up the order. Similar with Aero as well, who didn't really show this pace after the first pit stop, but he's looking very good at the moment in 3rd place to take a podium. That would be his first podium of the season. Points in all 3 races he's competed in, top 5 in all 3 races he's competed in. So maybe Aero might be the one who challenges CRG and IGK drivers to take the championship this season. It's been a fantastic professional performance from Liam. Called the strategy perfectly in qualifying to start on the medium tyres, and then once those on the softs came in, he just pulled away, and he hasn't been headed since, even when the rain came out. It's victory in Shanghai for Liam, the 4th different winner of the season so far. Gil crosses the line to take 2nd place. It's going to be the first podium of the season for Aero in the Racing Point. Suzo is in 4th. Blizzard holds on to 5th. Lee's just going to hold on to 6th place across the line from Caden. Mitch is in 8th, drops to 9th though on penalties, and Dario has reconnected, so he might get rewarded with 10th place. A disconnecting and dodgy connections, you got to say, really costs him. IGK today with Dommy's issues as well. Iamotti in 11th, Boss is going to be 12th, and Gamer, another driver who might be thinking what might have been, he's going to cross the line in 13th, but the winner round 4 in the AOR Hype Energy F1 League on the PlayStation 4. It is CRG Liam. Fantastic performance from him at the end. 8.3 seconds on the penalties. You've got to say, once he pulled away and once the rain came out and he was able to pit straight from the medium tyres, never really looked in doubt. There we go, driver of the day for Suso. Great job from him. Pitting a lot earlier than the others. Didn't quite work out. Bit weird seeing Schumacher in a Williams. Not weird to see Schumacher picking up a victory trophy here in China. So Liam with the victory. Gil in 2nd place. Aero rounding off the podium. Here are the provisional race results then from round 4. That was our top 3. Suso gaining 7 positions to finish in 4th. Blizzard could have got on the podium if it wasn't for being held in the pits. He finishes 5th. Lee Finley gets his first points with 6th place. Caden, another one of the drivers who was compromised slightly by the strategy. He finds himself in 7th in the race. Surface, he gets a good result for him, picking up fastest lap as well. He's in 8th. Mitch in 9th. Dario in 10th. Disconnect costing him a few points. Iamotti is just outside the points. Boss finishing in 12th. Gamer, we saw, had an incident early on and just lost a place. And Dommy disconnected in qualifying and wasn't able to regain control of his car. And that is why, people, that is why you look at what the weather's going to do in the race, because the strategy Strategy just worked out absolutely perfectly for Liam. Went on the medium tyres in qualifying, did go out on the softs again. Very wisely slowed down when he realised he was going to be on the top 10 on the mediums anyway. It's worked out fantastically. He has the first win of the season. Girls second place. Blizzard in 5th. What that means for the Drivers' Championship then is we do have Gil in the lead of the Drivers' Championship. He is now on 62 points. Blizzard has 61 points. And I think Dommy is actually going to hold on to 3rd position at the moment. So the gap between those front drivers has sort of extended slightly now. Blizzard and Gil just pulling away a bit from Dommy. Zach, Aero catching up. He's actually overtaken Zach. He's now on 38 points, just 2 behind Dommy. Biggest mover though, you've got to say Liam. He's actually tied on points with Dommy now. So he's all of a sudden gone from 10th in the championship to 3rd position. Very good job from him. And will he be able to continue that pace next time around? Or will we see a 5th different winner of the season? Next time around, next Sunday at 7 p.m, it will be round 5 of the season around the Zandvoort circuit, making its first ever appearance in an AOR F1 league. Will we see another winner? Will we see someone take their 2nd win? And will we see some more surprise weather conditions? You'll have to wait and see. Don't forget to tune in to the PC and Xbox One F1 tiers. They are live now. Don't forget to check out the rest of the AOR action throughout the week as well. Big thank you to our sponsors here at AOR as well, who help to produce with the stream and the graphics that you might see on some of the other streams. Elgato Gaming, let's not forget GT Omega, and of course Hype Energy as well. But for myself, I will see you guys next time around, where hopefully we'll get some more fantastic action in the AOR Hype Energy Leagues. Good night.